gonna be slightly different stream this time around. I know Halloween was a few days ago. It is now November 2nd. No voices, okay. But I wanted to do something a little different this time around. Because I was thinking, for the longest time, when I'm doing my live streams, I'm not exactly playing to my strengths. I am, foremost, a voice actor. I am an ASM artist. I am not a VTuber. I use a VTuber model, but that's just for the sake of convenience. My voice is just fine. But anyways, going back to the whole not playing to my strengths thing. Most of the people that come to my channel, you don't come to watch me play games. You come to listen to me talk and whisper. And I have forgotten that. So here we are. Shall I entertain you? I think that I might still continue with gaming occasionally. But I used to do a lot more live readings way back in the day. So I want to do that for you. I just got back from our Halloween party. I was Elizabeth from Gintama. I basically wore a sleeping bag for the few hours that I was there. I had to leave a little soon. Such is the life of an introvert. So, I am here now, and I realize that for one thing, I never stream at this time frame because, well, it's a lot more inconvenient for me because everyone's at home and you don't want to hear pots and pans rattling from another room. Unless you're into that kind of stuff. Tell me, are you the kind of person that listens to Girlfriend Beats You with a Pan for 20 minutes That personally is not my jam. As you know, I'm not that kind of abusive individual. No, I don't need that kind of gimmick. That sounded bad. I don't mean to imply that the VAs and the ASMR artists that do those kinds of meme videos are gimmicky. Let's be honest. There's a lot of views to be had in those kind of meme audios, aren't there? So, since this is a different kind of vibe, I thought I'd go with a kind of different model. These models are all publicly available. And they're very inexpensive. I get the majority of my models from booths. How's everyone enjoying their Saturday? And in addition to streaming at this time, I also wanted to take care of my listeners that live in the UK, the EU. I know I've got a fair amount of those, and they can never catch my streams. 'Cause when I do, it's at 2 in the morning for them. For lunch today, maybe I should just read a phone book. For lunch today, I had curry. I had some torokeru curry roux. And I had some pork. So what I did was, you gotta marinate the pork. Unless you're using pork belly or an equally fatty piece of pork. Pork tends to dry out very easily, so you gotta marinate it. So what I do is, I add in some minced garlic, some soy sauce, mirin, a little bit of honey, and a little bit of rice vinegar, and I let that marinate. While it's marinating, I take care of the other things. Potatoes, carrots, onions. I told you, didn't I? This is a different kind of stream. I am supposed to be off today, but I wanted to do something different, and I could never justify doing something this different during my regular work hours. So anyways, after I marinate the pork, first I fry the onions. You make them nice and translucent. And then you throw in the meat. You brown it so you get that nice Maillard reaction. And then you throw in the potatoes, the carrots, 700 milliliters of water for half a brick of roux, half a container. You let that boil. Sometimes I like to add in some bay leaf. Bay leaf is an interesting spice. It adds a little, je ne sais quoi to whatever food you're cooking. So, but I didn't this time because, alas, I was all out of bay leaf. So, this time I did without. Instead, I grated some apple. For the people that are in the know and for the people that cook curry on a regular basis, everyone has their own little special thing of what they like to put in. For me, personally, it's apples and ketchup. I like the tart acidity and the mild sweetness from the apples for my curry. And then I made some black rice. Of course, it was not nearly as black as my heart. And then I had lunch. And I enjoyed it. The stream is alive. So, going back to the whole returning to my roots kind of thing, playing to my strengths. I've come to realize that I am not a particularly entertaining. I'm not an entertainer the way that a lot of popular VTubers are. And I think variety VTubers are probably the most talented, or at least the ones who are successful. That is not the kind of entertainer I am. That is not why people come to this channel, and I think that is very obvious from the views. A lot of times I have a hard time breaking 50, 60 viewers on my game streams. And that's because a lot of people don't give two shits about me playing whatever game I'm gonna play. But a lot of people will listen to me talk like this. So, yes, I will return to my roots. I will return to doing more live readings, more calm, deep talking, because it is my honor. I consider it an honor to help you sleep. But of course, unless you're on my side of the globe, sleep is a little inconvenient right now, isn't it? And in a way, I do like these kinds of streams. I think It's different. I think if you come to a stream, you are guaranteed rest, relief, sleep. I suppose not today, though. The majority of my streams I usually do at 8 to 9 Central Standard Time, and it is currently 6 or maybe 7. I don't know. I think you recently had daylight savings time. Could be 8. Who knows? But yes, I do remember that I have a couple of fans in Oceania. Those of you from the land down under, welcome. I do like the black background. It gives you less to focus on. If you think that I could do a Jing Yu ASMR video, I shall look into that. Anything for one of my dearly appreciated mods. Perhaps we are all in the void. Nothing wrong with an after lunchtime nap, is there? On the weekend. But now that I have you here, let's do some reading. And I've got a script for you today. It's not finished yet. I'm still writing it. But I still want to share it with you, regardless. So, I want to set the stage for you. Here is the premise. You, the listener, are lost in a dark, foggy forest. You encounter me, a vampire with a calm, yet slightly intimidating presence. But rather than harming you, I feel compelled to protect you from the unseen dangers lurking nearby. I'm going to adjust my microphone a little bit so I can get really in your ears. And I do very much hope you are listening with headphones, because if you are not, you are missing out. A few days ago, one of my fellow ASM artists was like, you know, you kind of make me think that if ASMR artists or voice actresses had, like, you know, things, not things, well, to put it bluntly, she said that I reminded her of an ASMR artist who channeled Vincent Price, and I was very complimented. To be fair, there is also the very distinct possibility that she was blowing smoke up my ass. But that's still something everyone would like to hear about themselves. And if you don't know who Vincent Price is, what is a way? Let's see. Ah, I know. Vincent Price. He is the one that has the monologue in the Michael Jackson song, Thriller. And just so we could actually make the comparison, how about I do a little of it for you? Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years. And grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to share your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver. For no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller. I can't actually do the laugh. I'm sorry, I broke character. It's just too ridiculous for me to actually do the laugh. That was a lot of fun. And also, I missed Halloween by about 3 days. It's very unfortunate. I should have done this instead of the Duck Detective. Especially when I found out the Duck Detective was voiced by one certain Sean Chiplock, who is, unfortunately, somewhat of a, I'm a creep. I'm a loser. What the Yes. Sean Chiplock. Anyways, I wish I'd done this instead of that. But, well, hindsight is 2020, and also I probably should have done some research on that game, but I guess that's not really a thing for me to worry about anymore, as I will not be doing any gaming content for the foreseeable future. Instead, I'm just gonna sit here and talk to you. Any future... yes. I was going to sing Thriller, ironically, but it didn't pull through in time, so now releasing it at this juncture seems a little ridiculous. And to be fair, I like this. I like really getting into your ears and just talking to you. Do you like my building things? I feel like, I don't know, the building stuff, I've got to be really honest. I just feel like it seems very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not looking for the word that you must not utter for the month of November, but it is similar in that respect. I feel like for me, gaming content is the building content seems very pleasure, the M word. I don't know if self-M is an actual phrase, but when I was looking at some of the old building videos that I'd done in the past, it kind of struck me just a little bit that it seemed very, yes, self-indulgent. It seemed like a very self-indulgent activity to do. So, I may do it again, but I think it would be a Patreon thing, because I can't, or maybe I can, talk like this, and build, and do some gunpla. Maybe I can. I guess I never thought of it like that. But it just feels very... I don't really get the chance to... It's harder for me to interact with you, which is my main focus for streaming. Because I want to interact with you, my listener. But that's difficult to do when I'm staring at a tiny brick the size of my pinky fingernail. Would you kill to hear me do a cover of a Weird Al song? I can, you know. As I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain, I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain, but that's just perfect for an Amish like me. You know I shun fancy things like electricity. At 4:30 in the morning, I'm milking cows, Jebediah feeds the chickens, and Jacob plows knows, fool? And I've been milking and plowing for so long that even Ezekiel thinks my mind is gone. I'm a man of the land, I'm into discipline. Got a Bible in my hand and a beard on my chin. But if I finish all my chores and you finish thine, then tonight we're going to party like it's 1699. I keep thinking it's 1999. I think my favorite song by Weird Al is probably... I mean, that's a classic, as well as his other songs, Eat It, and Fat. I don't like, and you know, of course, there's the classic Albuquerque, but I'm not the biggest fan of his most recent work, and maybe that's because I'm not as familiar with the source material. If I was familiar, perhaps I would enjoy it more. But alas, that is not the case. See, I don't like Party in the CIA, but that's because I don't know Party in the USA. I'm aware it was sung by Miley Cyrus. I only heard that song after Party in the CIA. Although White and Nerdy is another great song. And of course, Like a Surgeon is wonderful as well. Anyways, now that I have done as you've requested, which is do a cover of a Weird Al song, not that I actually sang it, let us move ahead to my original plan, which was live readings. Yes, this is not only a new outfit, but a new model. It didn't feel right to bring Milky Tea, the Kumio, into this just yet when I'm still testing out this format and see if this is something I really want to do. Do you find it relaxing? I hope so. I did get to see Weird Al in concert. I was very lucky. He came to Aurora, Illinois, which is just outside of Chicago. I was very excited to see him because a few years before that, he actually came to my town in Chicago, and I was not able to see him then because I could not afford the tickets at the time. I was more busy paying rent and paying for electricity. But then I had a little bit of extra income and I got to see him, and it was very enjoyable. He is the consummate professional. I'm glad you are wanting to nap. That is the entire purpose of this. Right. So, I wanted to do a quick update for you. Currently, I am training for voice masculinization. If you don't know what that means, I want to sound like a man. It's not easy. I don't think I will ever not sound like a woman, because I am And I'm not going to take testosterone just to sound deep. Although, to be fair, there are more fangirls than there are fanboys. Not that I'm calling you a fanboy, but you get my drift. But I started watching a lot of videos. I've signed up for a consultation, like a training session, on Monday. Very excited. I really want to hit those lower registers. I'll finally come to terms with what? Come to terms that I'd rather be a man? No, I'm very comfortable in my femininity. Feminine. I am woman. Hear me roar. But I've said this before in my Discord. I've been for a while now. I've considered putting together a demo reel of my voice. And I feel that if I can get some training, it might prove beneficial for me in the future. And it is a challenge, to be sure. Femininity. Yes. But now, thanks to the YouTube algorithm, all I get are suggestions of channels for transitioning. Which, I don't necessarily dislike. I do find, I watched a couple of those videos. I found them to be very fascinating, and it was especially interesting to watch watch the videos about the female transitioning to male FTM voice changes. So there was this one video of someone who recorded themselves while they were taking testosterone. And it was very interesting to hear the change in their voice. To go from a female to, you don't sound like a female at all. And I thought that was very fascinating. I don't think I will be taking testosterone, however. And so, for those of you who are just tuning in, for those of you who are curious about why I have decided to embark on this task, recently I learned that one of my most favorite male VAs is actually a woman. Does not sound like a woman at all, and yet she appears to be one. And I thought, well, if she's done it, why can't I? So, this is actually part of the training that I'm doing. I am trying to learn how to relax my vocal folds and try to lower my larynx, speak from my belly, breathe from my belly. And what better way to practice than to speak to you? If you do hear birds, that is likely because it is included in the background of the song. Thank you very much for your thank you. But I do also want to reassure you that this channel is my utmost. What's the word I'm looking for? Responsibility? I would never abandon you. You are too dear to me. After all, what is my tagline for my channel? Your favorite yandere girlfriend. So I'm not going to leave you. And I won't let you leave me. Was that a little cringe? That felt a little cringe. How is the voice changing going so? You tell me. How is the voice changing going so far? Right. Well, I did say I was going to do a live reading, didn't I? Now remember the premise. You are lost in a dark, foggy forest, and you encounter me, a vampire with hypnotizing eyes. But rather than biting you, I want to protect you. Well now, what curious turn of fate brings you here to such a forsaken place? Do you realize how far you've wandered, little one? This forest doesn't take kindly to strangers. Especially at this hour. No need to tremble, I assure you. I mean you no harm. In fact, I'd advise you to stay close to me. There are far worse things out here than a solitary wander in the night. Ah, there it is. Fear. You sense the danger, don't you? I could feel your heartbeat long before I ever laid eyes on you. Strange that it would call to me like this. Strange indeed. Perhaps you're wondering what I am. That curiosity gleaming in your eyes. It may be your undoing. But if you're truly determined to know, then follow. And I'll see you safely through this night. Strange, isn't it? How a single wrong step can lead one so far astray. I wonder, what were you searching for out here? Or perhaps, what were you running from? Ah, I see. Fear can be a powerful motivator. But do you really think you're safe now? Simply because I'm here? I may offer my protection for tonight, but know this. There are things in these woods that even I find distasteful. You should be thankful I found you. First, some of the creatures that wanders these shadows. Well, let's just say they lack my sense of restraint. Shh. You'll want to keep your voice down. The forest listens, and it remembers. A whispered word, a careless step. They could draw something far less forgiving than myself. Tell me, do you often wander places like this? Or was tonight an exception? Does a part of you enjoy this thrill, the danger, the unknown? No matter. You're here now, and so am I. But I'd advise you, don't look too closely into the shadows. Curiosity is a way of revealing things one might be better off not knowing. That is all. I am still in the process of writing this script. If you liked it, let me know. So I'm doing a lot of training to really reach my lower registers. And I don't expect to see progress for a very long time, if at all. You know, I was listening again to that favorite voice actor, trying in vain to catch even the tiniest note of femininity. Femininity? Femininity. I hate that word. There wasn't even the faintest note, which I found to be very odd. So, initially, I did believe it when people said that she had trained for a decade to sound like that. But then there was another offhanded comment that someone had made, that this person was looking to transition from female to male. I didn't give it that much thought at the moment, but now I wonder if maybe we are all being bamboozled. And maybe, or perhaps this is just a very talented male VA who has been able to mimic the female timbre, because I honestly think that it is far easier for a male to sound like a woman as opposed to a woman sounding like a man. And while there are supposedly pictures of said VA, and you do hear them in stream, for someone who can sound like that, I imagine it cannot be that difficult for them to sound feminine. Now, this is all conjecture, but I think about the professional voice actors who have voiced male characters, young male characters, and I can't help but think, if they still sound like a female, because regardless of what you say or think, the woman who voices Bobby Hill from King of the Hill, he's a little boy, still sounds like a woman. And then you think about the voice actresses, both Japanese and English, for Ash Ketchum, Naruto, Killua, Gon, and you think, if they can't completely sound like a man, considering for how long they have been working professionally, how can you do it? So, I just had that, I wouldn't necessarily call it an epiphany. Yes, Bart Simpson was also, something, yeah, she's got an interesting name, I know. But there are these people that voice male characters for a significant portion of their lives. but they still sound female. And I can't help but think that maybe it's all just a lie. And of course, that does rather dampen my enthusiasm for said voice actor. But whether they are telling the truth or not, I think I can still enjoy their voice. Yes, I do know. Thank you, I'm very familiar with that. And then I think about also like the voice actors who try purposefully to sound androgynous, to be neither male nor female, but they still always kind of sound feminine, I think. Anyways, this is all just conjecture on my part. They could be telling the truth. Doesn't really matter, I'm still gonna keep doing this, as I think it's an excellent way to level up, so to speak. I don't know about Luffy's dub, but I do know that Luffy's original voice actress is a woman, of course. But anyways, this is still just a very fun way for me to stretch my wings, or so to speak. I do intend on making, well, I've actually already made it. I made a YouTube channel for my more masculine type of content. And I will be posting content on there on a fairly regular basis. I don't intend on sharing it with anyone just yet. It's more for my records, so I can keep track of my progress and see where I am. 1 week, 1 month, a year from now. That's very cute. But I think a lot of my content will be seen as very androgynous, I think. For right now, that is the label that I will aim for. So, not necessarily female, but also not male either. I will probably post them on Patreon just because it's extra content. And I know that there are people who are genuinely interested. But that is what I do plan to do in the future. But I think that if you were to hear me with that kind of voice that I'm slightly doing here, I think you would instantly be able to pinpoint. I know exactly who that is. So, I may have shot myself in the foot for saying that exact thing. But it is very much an interesting journey. I think it might be labeled as A for A. But also, I have been learning that for masculine speech, there are certain speech patterns to mimic if I were to really embrace that kind of feel. Like, for example, so right now and I know that right now I'm talking to you right now, obviously. I don't sound like how I normally sound, I think because the way I speak is different, and I find the whole science of it to be very fascinating. But if you want to sound different, you have to look different. And by look different, I mean the way your body is working, I suppose, is the right way to put it. 2 different streaming platforms? No. Like I said, this is just an experiment. Well, not even like this. Because but I just mean like really trying hard to pass off as male, or at the very least, pass off as androgynous. So, I see these comments, and I can count on 3 fingers people that I would like to put in timeout. So, you may think you are funny. Quite frankly, I don't find you funny at all. And I doubt the rest of the chat finds you funny either. And I'll remember your name. And if you ever find your way into my Discord, I will keep an eye on you. Was that just a little bit terrifying? Was that just a little bit scary? What is this stream supposed to be? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to change the title. It was supposed to be ASM Artist Verbally Abuses You on Stream, which ironically turns out to be one of my better videos. there are a surprisingly large amount of people that are very, very into degradation, which I never quite understood, but it is not my place to yuck anyone's yums. So, I will let you know that the majority of the Discord group, the community that we, and as in we, I do mean the mods, I've barely done any work. The mods have done a fantastic job of weeding out. I'd like to think the mods as gardeners of a sort. And my Discord is a beautiful garden filled with the most exotic blooms, with the most fragrant scents. And so the mods wander through these beautiful fields of flowers. With a pair of shears. And sometimes there are weeds. And you know what we do with weeds. But I have been informed by my mods that it seems in the recent weeks, we have seen a certain amount of, shall we say, dandelions. Now, don't get me wrong. I like dandelions. They're very cute. With their little yellow blossoms. But dandelions have a tendency of losing those blooms. And then they're just weeds, aren't they? They're just a little white puffball. And I can't have those in my garden, can I? And so the mods come by with their gardening shears. And they do what they are meant to do. Can you imagine how terrifying it would have been if I just had a scissor sound effect at that moment? I don't. I was looking around for a pair of scissors. I don't know where mine are. that would have gone pretty hard, don't you think? But that's how I see things. I don't personally appreciate what's the best way to put it? I don't appreciate people who say ridiculous things in the chat. So when you do, it makes me just a little bit irritated. And like I said, this is a weird stream. This is a different format I'm trying out. But I think, yes, I think I like it. I am, of course, always very appreciative of the mods for all the hard work they do. It's very difficult to find a good team who are not reimbursed for their efforts. Also, there have been a series of earthquakes just now, which I don't particularly enjoy. I think I have time to do one more script. So, but I need to actually look it up. Actually, you know what I'm gonna be doing? I think I will instead. Let me. Are you familiar with the subreddit NoSleep? I think that I'm going to read for you a NoSleep story. Of course, it must be one that I already have access to, and one I've already asked for permission. And this one, I do. This one is written by Orange Plur, PLR, and it is titled, "Every night, a different person walks down the street and screams for help. We aren't allowed to help them." And I will be recording this for my Patreon, complete with sound effects. So you'll get a different feeling from that one. Are you ready? Looking back, I feel dumb. Completely stupid, actually. And I should have known that apartment was far too cheap to be right, even for a studio. I should have known there had to be a catch. The day I moved in was a complete blur. I keep getting earthquakes. I need to look this up. Forgive me. I need to make sure it's me, or not me. Maybe it's me. I keep feeling the ground shake. That is not part of the story, by the way. Anyways, the day I moved in was a complete blur. I insisted that no one help me, not wanting to prove any of my family members' suspicions about my character. By late afternoon, all my muscles ached terribly, and my head throbbed. I fell back on my bare mattress, staring up at the ceiling fan with glazed over eyes. I pulled the damp strands of hair from my sweaty forehead, wincing in disgust. Someone knocked on my door, causing me to jump. I cursed under my breath, pushing myself up on my elbows. Two girls were peeking around my door frame. Foolishly, I had left it wide open, forgetting the old college rule. Only leave your door open if you want to make new friends. And I was not in the mood to make new friends. One of them, an Asian girl with choppy black hair, was grinning at me. The other stood a little further back, fingering a box of Marlboro Reds. "Hey," she said, nodding at me. Her voice was smooth and raspy at the same time. "Did you just move in?" I laid back down, rubbing my face with both hands, choosing not to bother with manners. "Yeah, about 5 seconds ago." "Cool." The girls walked in, evidently ignoring my very clear body language. The girl with the black hair ran her fingers along the edge of my desk, and then picked up a little ceramic duck from my unpacked box of trinkets. "Grandma," I replied, feeling strangely defensive. "Cute," she replied, holding it up to her face. "Has anyone told you yet?" the other girl asked abruptly, looking around my apartment. She had tucked the cigarettes into the back pocket of her jeans and was now tugging at her long red braids. "Jesus, Gianna, give her a second." "Well, she needs to know." "Yeah, but we haven't even asked her name." I blinked at the two strangers incredulously. I hadn't even had time to put toilet paper in my bathroom. Here they were, touching my things, talking about me like I wasn't there. I just wanted to take a nap, honestly. "My name's Arden," I said. The girl with the red braids. Maybe that's some casual foreshadowing. Gianna sat down next to me on my bed. "Did they tell you?" "Tell me what?" "Oh, of course they didn't. The rules." I blinked again, my face blank. I didn't know about any rules, beside the typical renting ones. I had signed the lease after, at best, skimming over it. The landlord was a skinny woman who smelled of ashes, and I was fairly certain she had never developed the facial muscles necessary for smiling. I wasn't about to ask her any follow-up questions, especially when the rent was so cheap. The other girl laughed nervously. "Where did you move here from?" I ignored her. "What rules?" Gianna got a strange, wicked sort of smile on her face, bouncing a little on my mattress. The other girl sighed loudly. "Something happens here every night," she began, pulling out my rickety office chair and sitting down. "Something weird." "Like what?" I sat up, frowning at her. Finally, my interest was piqued. "Someone walks down the street," Gianna said, her voice reminding me of a camp counselor telling a scary story around the bonfire. "That one, right down there." She pointed at my window. "It's someone different every night. They scream for help for about an hour, but we aren't supposed to help them." I just stared at her. I felt a small chill run up my spine. I didn't know what to make of all this. "It happens at a different time every night," the other one said softly. "We never know when it's coming." "Why?" She shrugged, almost sadly. "We don't know why." I scoffed, leaning my elbows against my knee. "I don't believe you." The girl shrugged. "You don't have to. You'll see for yourself." The look in her eyes made me want to believe her. She seemed sincere, but I couldn't even begin to fathom what they were saying being true. It was too strange, too outlandish. I knew this wouldn't be the nicest neighborhood, but it couldn't be that bad. It had to be a prank. They had to be hazing me, or something. "We'll come back later," Gianna said, matter-of-factly. "We'll show you." Before I could protest, she grabbed the other girl by the wrist, and they were gone. I followed them to the door, watching them march down the hall, talking to each other in hushed voices. I closed my door behind them. That night, as promised, they came back. They came dragging along 2 boys. One was somewhat muscular, wearing a tight black t-shirt, baggy jeans. And my eyes were instantly drawn to a silver heart-shaped locket around his neck. He smiled at me and introduced himself as Will when he walked in. The other boy was smaller, but chubbier and nervous-looking, with a buzz cut and ill-fitting cargo shorts. His name, I was told, was Mateo. The girl named Gianna came in carrying a bottle of wine and that same slightly crumbled box of cigarettes. The other one, the girl I still didn't know the name of, was the only one who looked even somewhat apologetic. They all sat down on my dusty floor next to the window and motioned for me to join them. I sat between Will and the nameless girl, unsure whether I should continue feeling violated or if I should just give in to my strange, pushy neighbors. "Do you all live in this building?" I asked, hesitantly, accepting the wine when it was passed to me. "Yeah," Will answered, with a grin that seemed half-hearted. "The building is where all the young people live." Sorry, this building is where all the young people live. I didn't want this story to sound kind of dystopian. "It's where they put us," Gianna got in, lighting a cigarette. Didn't even occur to me to tell her not to smoke inside. We've all been sorted out. "Forgive her. She's a bit of a conspiracy nut." "It's not a theory," she snapped, glaring at him. "Look at the other ones. Next door. The middle-agers. Kids with... people with kids, but no grandkids. Across the street. Old people. Not a single 20-something in that entire building. May. Tell him." So her name was May. I looked her over, admiring her smoky green makeup, and how she tied her hair up, long strands poking out like exploding fireworks. "Stop it," May muttered, reaching for the wine bottle. "You'll scare her." "I'm not scared." She just shrugged at me, as if she didn't believe me. We passed the bottle around, and then around again. I listened to them bicker and laugh. It was clear they'd all been friends for a while, and I felt a little bit like I was intruding, even though they were in my apartment. Will asked me if I had gone to college, I told him I did, but I dropped out. They all nodded, sympathetically, which made me feel stupid. You know, before I started reading this NoSleep, I really should have checked how long it was. This story's gonna take me another hour to read. So, I think I will read it, but probably later. I will post it on YouTube. It will go on Patreon first. Sorry, I didn't mean to blue ball ya. I gotta commit shit. The story is very long. I imagine it would take about 45 to an hour, 60 minutes to read in its entirety. And at the rate that I was reading it, wow, it could take even longer. Right. Did you enjoy today's stream? I know I did. This was an interesting experiment, to say the least. I enjoy these kinds of streams very much. I realize, you know, this is why you're here. You're here for this. I'm so grateful that you've come to hang out on this Saturday morning. Can you imagine going back to bed? Just feel those sheets wrap around you, nice and warm, as the chill of the November air starts to settle deep into the marrow of your bones. That is if you live on the northern hemisphere. If you live in the southern hemisphere, like I know a couple of you do, well, it probably isn't that cold for you now, is it? Thank you so much for the super chats, guys. As you know, 50% of all super chats are donated to the West Virginia Children's Hospital, to the greatest needs funds, because there are so many born young little kids out there that just need a little bit of help. And I think that we as a community could band together and provide what comfort that we can. And I'm always very appreciative of your contributions and your support and your generosity. I don't do anything. If anything, thank you. Thank you very much, Der Schrapper. I'm so sorry for butchering your name. Me sprechen the Deutschen not great. I'm just glad to have warm bodies in this stream. I truly am. Makes me feel a little warmer, a little safer to know that among the billions of people that live on this earth, that exist in this galaxy, there are people that I know, that know me. And even though our lives can seem infinitesimally small compared to the entire cosmos, for us right now, in this moment, we are here. We are alive. And that is both a humbling and wondrous experience all at once. Thank you for everything. Now I will see you guys next time. Enjoy your weekend.